What is going on, YouTube? I'm having a good hair day today. It is the day after dig or die. We did not perform too well. Went out first round duck right here. The car did fine. I mean, it actually ran almost identical time to what I ran last year, first round, which was not a bad time. The little black S10, man, he's experienced racer. He knows his car. I heard that car was very consistent, and it ran the number that he wanted to run. And I'm telling you, it was a very close call. But hey, is what it is. That's drag racing. The car, the car launched okay. It got out about 20 foot, 30 foot, and I started getting some wheel speed. I did have my kind of homemade traction control on. It did cut, so it cut almost all the way through first, which was obviously slowing me down. The traction control that's on this V2, it's not that great. It really kills the car bad, and it doesn't really get my wheel speed back down where I need it. It pretty much is like, it's pretty much just a rev limiter is what it is, and it's not that great. So very exciting opportunity here has come. As you can see, I have an ECU sitting back here. We are done with AEM. AEM has been great for me. The car has been on V2 its entire life since supercharged days. And I love V2. I'm still gonna continue to support customers and tune V2 cars. There's nothing wrong with V2. The car runs fabulous. As you can see, my car, kicking a lot of ass, makes a lot of power. It has a lot of options for your normal street cars and even, cars that are gonna drag race and race on road courses and stuff. It's still a great ECU. You can have tons of sensors on it. But I'm getting to a point now in drag racing that I need more stuff. I need wheel speed sensors. I need better traction control. I need a timetable so I can ramp timing in, or different boost tables. So I just need a little bit more out of the ECU than what this is capable of. So I'm excited for the new ECU. Here it comes. We went Maxxecu. Jason hooked me up, and you can say a little bit of a sponsorship, as you could say, but he wanted me to get on Maxxecu, learn the system. He's been on Maxxecu now for a while, and he's tuning some really cool cars on BMW Transits and stuff. So I talked to him a lot. I was bouncing back and forth between Haltech and Maxxecu, and I was just able to get a lot better deal on Max. And after going through the software with Max, it's actually a lot like Haltech without the massive price tag. So Maxxecu, this is their race version. 2 big plugs, does have Bluetooth capabilities. It has an internal map sensor, which we're not going to use because this is a 3-bar, I believe, or a 4-bar. We run a 5-bar. It does have internal O2 capabilities, which I'm probably going to go ahead and try that. I don't know if I use my Ballinger anymore. Apparently this is good enough to run pretty low Lambia tables. So we'll give it a shot. If it doesn't work, I'll have to put my Ballinger back on. Tons of clips, tons of different stuff that I can hook up. Jason also went ahead and he can do a complete conversion wiring setup. This will allow the stock to just plug right in and plug up the ECU. Now I still am gonna have to run some sensors, and I wanna redo my entire wire system, because once you guys see my wiring down at my kick panel, you're gonna be like, holy crap, Josh, that looks awful, because it really does. But this has all the cool plugs. It's gonna be super clean, and also really excited about EGTs. Went out, got some Fuel Tech EGT probes. It's going to be nice to have EGT data. I'm going to go over, Bailey's going to get my manifold. He's going to weld on these bungs, and we'll have EGT. Having EGTs is really nice to just be able to monitor your car's performance and its health per cylinder. So What that's able to do, it's able to measure each runner temperature on the exhaust side, and you'll be able to see differences. So if a cylinder is leaner, it's gonna run hotter. If it's richer, it's gonna run colder. You'll be able to see when maybe your turbocharger is running out, because EGTs really start to climb with a lot of back pressure. So different variances like that is gonna give me data to adjust. Really with EGTs, it's really just an insurance health thing for your motor, so you can kind of see if something might be going wrong before it goes catastrophic. Also, it's just a help tunability to make sure the car is running optimum and you're not burning stuff up. So excited about that. Well, it's gonna be a lot of work. I'm basically going to backtrack all my sensors through the wiring harness, label everything, and then I'm gonna clean up all the wiring mess. It's a rat's nest under there. It's pretty bad. And I just want to be able to clean everything up. I also want to be able to point to where if I need to add any sensors in the future, all I got to do is depin and repin stuff or put a new pin in. I don't have to add like extra connectors and stuff like that. So I just want it nice, easy plug and play, easy connectability and all that stuff. So I think we are going to do a head gasket as well this winter. Coolant pressure has climbed again really fast on my past dig or die. I went from like 5 pounds all the way to 20, and really hard coolant hoses and stuff like that. So I think I may have lifted a head gasket, and it is slightly pushing under heavier boost levels. So we're gonna do a head gasket just to be safe. I actually might go ahead and try a Cometic thicker gasket. Guys have been having pretty good, what am I trying to say? Pretty good success with the thicker head gaskets with the steel rings. Just adds as more of a crush capability. So might be throwing on a little bit thicker head gasket, and then we'll be good to go. But I'm not doing that till after we get the max figured out, because I want to get the max figured out first before we start pulling the head apart. Make sure the car runs good, because the car runs fine right now. So be able to hook the max up, get it running, get it idling, get it driving. And then we'll go ahead and do head gasket before we start testing and stuff like that. So first thing is first, I'm going to be taking the seat out, because it makes it much easier to get down in there and get everything. So I'll be able to just kind of hunker down in the seat area there, be able to get to my ECU and all the wiring. We're gonna have to be tracing all the wiring up through here, which having this ABS module is a real pain because all my wires are tucked down underneath there. So it's gonna be a lot of multimeter, a lot of multimeter work, figuring out where all my sensors are at, and being able to hook everything up to the max ECU. But man, tell you what, I'm super excited for this. Been waiting for me to I've had this sitting here for probably a couple months now, and I was going to swap over, but I had a tuned reliable car on the V2 for dig or die, and I did not want to put this in before dig or die and be rushing around testing, trying to figure it out. So I waited till after dig or die, and to be honest with you, I was more excited about putting this ECU in than even going to dig or die. Dig or die it's a great time and stuff, but this has been on my mind for months about getting this ECU in the car, being able to have wheel speed data, being able to have so many more options. It should really change the racing program for next year. So it's gonna be really nice. I have a couple other things in mind I wanna do with the car, suspension wise, gear ratio wise. We'll get into that later in the winter time. But I also have to get a customer car started so that way he can have his car back in the spring. So today I'm gonna kind of prep the car, get the seat out, start looking at some wires, and just kind of going from there. All right guys, I don't know if you're ready to see this, but you're about to see what this car's been running on for the past 7 years. And yeah, nice little packed nest right there. Lots of wires, lots of connectors, lots of stuff going everywhere. So we're cleaning that all up. This is an absolute mess. So we're already digging in here. I cut all my zip ties. I'm pulling all the looming and all the harnesses out. This is going to be a very long process of figuring out what sensor wires are which, because I've basically got to trace everything back underneath here. That way I can wire everything up properly. So some of the sensors are in the factory ECU wiring, which will plug right up to Jason's converter adapter plugs, but I still want to cut a lot of wire and clean a lot of stuff up. So that's what we'll be doing here. All right, so we're getting places. I know this looks like even more of a mess, but what I'm doing right now is I'm taking like everything apart and tracing them and then marking the wires with labels and stuff. I also got wires coming over here because I got more electronics happening. It's my solid state relay for my bump. I have my relay here for my dump valve for my transmission. I have my trans brake wires running down. So this is a whole nother situation that I'm gonna have to do. But right now I'm just trying to do basically engine sensors, disconnect stuff from the D connector and repinning and finding my 5-volt sensors and grounds. Because I want to get to a point, like I was saying before, that I want basically a main plug hub for like all my sensors. So what I got were these bus kits, and what's going to happen is there's going to be one 5-volt wire that runs into the bus kit, and then it's going to have 5 connectors, so I can run 5 wires out of it, and they will all be 5 volts. So I'll be able to run all those wires to all my 5-volt sensors. And then the same with the ground. So the ground will have one main ground bus, and then all my sensors will connect to that ground bus. So that way I don't have a million wires running into one, trying to connect into another ground sensor. So it's just a little bit simpler way to do it. It also makes it to where future sensors, if I want to hook up something else, it'll be easier to connect something up. So it's going to take some time to get everything situated now, but it'll make it in the long run. It'll be a cleaner install, and it'll be easier to hook up future sensors. Well, it is going. We are getting some wiring covered. I got stuff just laying all over the ground, wires everywhere, but we are getting somewhere. It's looking really good. I'm going to take a break. Wiring really gets me ragged in the head, as you can tell. I can't even think right now, but lots of just figuring out where everything goes. It takes a toll on you. So this is gonna be a day-by-day project, getting all this wiring figured out. I mean, I'm tearing harnesses apart. I'm gonna be redoing some wiring, like my boost solenoid. I wanna redo wiring because I got too many connectors and I want solid wires everywhere. So it is the time to redo all the wiring, pulled out stuff I'm not using. So we got everything ready to go in there. I'm still working on getting everything labeled, but once everything is labeled, that's when we'll be able to hook up the ECU and get it on its first start. So I'll be bringing you guys with me on that, but let's keep going and getting this stuff wired up. Probably work on it here the next day or two. So that's where the video will pick back up. What's up? It's the next day. We're back out here working on the car. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I've done so far. So we're making our sensor ground. Like I said, this is gonna be basically a connector, and I messed myself up there. What this is gonna be able to do is, so this is my GT150 connector. It comes off the harness, right? GT150 connector has these different guys right here. So 12 pin, it has a chassis ground, it has some of my dump outs and arm nitrous and stuff, but it also has a 12-volt switch, it has a 5-volt sensor power and a sensor ground. So I'm gonna have all my sensor grounds going to this guy and all my sensor 5-volt reference going to that guy. So we're making these little buses here. So this first wire is my ground, and this guy is going to, anything that I plug in to the back of this guy here is going to share. This is all the same. So this whole plug right here, this whole plug, whatever I pin in here, will be ground. So once I stick that on there, these will all be ground. So what I can do is I can run all my sensor wires right to this plug, and this will all be a grounded sensor plug. And what I can do in the future is, if say I'm getting rid of a sensor or I'm adding a sensor, all I got to do is grab some wire, get a pin, and pin it in here, and we're ready to go. I no longer have to cut, resplice a bunch of wires in, so it's a much easier setup to do it this way. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and set up the 5-volt as well. So we'll have ground and 5-volt, and then we're gonna go into the car and we're gonna start pinning. All right, so we got our barrel terminal on there. I really like these. These are a lot easier to pin on than these guys. These are quite nice, but this guy's gonna go in here. We're gonna go ahead and throw our other side on and be good. All right, so now we got our GT500 GT150 pin set up with our sensor ground bus and our 5-volt bus. So now all my sensors will just plug right into there via pins, and we'll have our 5-volt and our sensor ground going to our ECU. Really, really nice. I like this setup. Be much easier, much cleaner. Another cool thing I'll be able to do is, since these back of these buses have numbers, I put the feed on number 1, and then see we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'll be actually to write down, be like, okay, my oil pressure 5-volt sensor is in number 2. So I can write that down. That way I actually know the wires that are coming in here, what they are. All right, so we are getting very far here. I know it looks like a mess still. It's a lot of wires, but I'm actually organizing it pretty good. I already got a lot of my barrel connectors on, and all my 5-volt and ground sensors are ready to go. And we're gonna move on to nitrous next. So nitrous is gonna be this relay here with these big wires. So big change for nitrous is that now the Max is going to be controlling everything of the nitrous. So I wrote a quick little diagram. So we're still going to have an arm switch, and this arm switch is going to be the input to turn the nitrous on through the Max, okay? So we'll have an arm switch. Max will say, okay, you want nitrous on. Nitrous is on. Then it's just going to be one output that will trigger our external relay and turn our solenoid on and off. So it's a pretty simple system. Right now we just don't have the Max. Basically the Max is not there. You have an arm switch to a button would be here instead of the Max, which we don't need the button anymore. And then the button would control the output into the relay. But now the Max will control everything with the nitrous. I just wanted to show you guys, let me go fisheye here. Okay, so as you can see, we have all of our sensors and all of our grounds right here in these nice little hubs attached to our 105 connector. So now everything is here, it's all labeled. We have our 5-volt, we have our sensor ground. I can add sensors, take away sensors if I want to. Very, very convenient. It's obviously getting a little cleaner up in here. I cleaned up the factories. This is my D connector with a couple inputs on it still, but that'll get tucked down in there. These wires running through the top here is my injection, my water meth injection kit. But yeah, it's looking way cleaner, a lot easier. We're gonna have to do our wheel speed sensor at the rear, which I've never done before, so that's going to be a little bit, but we don't have to wire that up yet. Once I get the trans brake and dumping everything wired up, we're going to be like extremely close to starting the car up. We are pretty much done here, guys. So we cleaned this up a lot. I mean, there's so many wires. So I got my solid state relay and my dump relay under there. We have all of our wiring set up. I got my trans brake button now. It's just two wires here. That's triggering the ECU, and I got that looking pretty good in there too. Let me go around and show you. So here we go. Of course, you know, there's still a lot of wires. It still may look like kind of a mess, but it's really not. All these, I could like loom these up, which I might do. Loom those up. Those are all to my water meth injection kit, and then the big bundle way in the back there coming down, I could loom those. Those are all my 5-volt sensors, and then I have a couple inputs here on my DTM 12 pin, which is like my MAC valve and stuff. So I got this guy and this guy are my two main plugs. The only thing I gotta run still is my O2 and then my CAN wires off of my CAN gauge. So here's my 12 volt and my CAN gauge. So these will obviously all plug into the Jason's adapter, and ECU will fit up in there. So we're about to throw the ECU up in there and get everything plugged up. All right, so you see that orange plug way back there? I unplugged it so that way I could multimeter and use the factory wiring all the way to my ABS plug, and I found the 2 wires right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug the plug back in, which will connect my ABS sensor. That feedback will run up to these 2 wires, and I'm gonna run these 2 wires through the firewall to the ECU. So then we're gonna have rear wheel speed. We have our factory VSS set up on our front wheel, and we will have slip comparison. So this will be the undriven wheel. So this will be actual miles an hour. So this is going 40 mile an hour. That tire is going 40 mile an hour. You apply power to that tire. That tire starts to spin to say 50 to 60 miles an hour, and you will see the comparison between the 2 tires. And that's how you set up your traction control. That's also how you tune the car to see how much wheel speed you have. So say you have, 20 mile an hour difference, that's a good bit of wheel speed. So you can tune your car to less wheel speed with power. You can use timing, whatever you need to do. But we have never had that kind of data before. And now that we'll have actual, because in the past with, making a pass and tuning, I had no idea how much I was actually spinning. Unless the car was completely like getting loose in the rear end, I have no idea. And like the car could be completely straight, but I could have 25 mile an hour or 30 mile an hour tire speed on the back, and I have no idea. And I also, I'm not really sure, like once you get into white tire smoke, that's when you really slow down. I don't know what kind of slip that is. So it's gonna be a lot of feeling and testing out, how much wheel speed do I really want? Because when you're on like a slick, you're gonna have slip. That's just how slicks work, So you're gonna have maybe 20, 25, 30% slip, and you're still gonna be flying. Of course, once you get beyond a threshold, the tire gets too much and it starts to lose complete grip. So that's just going to be testing next year and figuring out what the car likes, what it goes fastest on. We're going to be doing testing on, like a prep track, maybe South Mountain on a radial, to see like what no slip looks like versus a crappy surface. Maybe we'll go to the airport on the backside or something where there's no rubber and kind of see the comparison on slip data. All right, I got everything up. I went ahead and I zippied the 6-pin and the 5 through 8 EGTs because I'm not gonna need them. So I just got my 4 EGTs loose, my 12-pin, my Lambia, my GT, and my CAN plug. So I got those up into the frame area out of the way. So we just gotta hook up our data cable once it's up in there and plug everything up.
20 minutes later.
I've just spent like 2 hours trying to figure out why stuff ain't correlating correctly. So on these DTM pins, there's a male side and a female side. The female side, Jason did, and it's labeled 1 to 12, and every pin has a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then on the male side, it has numbers 1 through 12, and it's all correlated, right? Well, I didn't realize until just now when I put the 2 connectors together, 1 is not 1. 1 is 7. The connectors are 180 degrees the other way. So that was really awesome. So now I'm going to just have to flip-flop basically from up to down, like, because 1 would be up top left, but really it's down on the bottom left. So it's just 180 degrees off. So let me redo all that and see if stuff starts working. Well, the time has come, guys. We are about to start it up. First time on Maxxecu. Had a little bit of wiring issues happening, but we're good now. We had a plug that was flipped around and really had me guessing what was going on, but everything looks good. We're gonna jump in. Well, we're not gonna jump in because I don't have a chair. but this will be the first startup. And I got it up on jacks, so I want tires to move and stuff, check speed sensors and stuff like that. All right, here we go. Figured out, but she's running. Well guys, she is running. Very, very long day. I was out here for hours and hours and hours trying to troubleshoot different wire stuff. The one thing I did figure out is that the analog inputs, to use them as a switch, I'm probably gonna need a resistor, a 25K pull-up resistor with a 5-volt reference, because right now the analog inputs don't have any 5-volt reference, and it's really hard to get it to switch back and forth. I got my trans brake on a digital one, and that's fine because the digitals have a factory pull-up. The analog ones do not. So we're looking pretty good. It actually starts up really nice. It idles pretty decent. I'm gonna have to get with Jason on figuring out the idle stuff. I'm not used to this type of idle control. I'm used to like V2. V2 just basically had an era duty or an era idle, and you just change that and it changed your out of your control valve. This stuff is completely different and foreign to me, so I'm gonna have to get in there and figure out how to change idle and stuff like that. Also, like with the VE table versus like just a map, like speed density tables, I'm gonna have to learn that too. But so far, I mean, it runs great. It's just gonna be fine tuning now, figuring out everything. All my sensors work, all my temperatures work. So everything is looking really good, and I really do like the Maxxecu layout. I'm starting to learn it more and more and more as I'm troubleshooting and going through the tables and bothering Jason constantly. So, but yeah, it's really awesome ECU. I do want to do a big shout out to Jason Wadsworth. He hooked me up with the Max. If you guys have an S2000 and you're thinking about going to a new ECU, the Max is really awesome, guys, and I can't wait to really dig in and get the car out and get testing. My wheel speed data works now. I got front and rear wheel speed stuff. I'm gonna need Jason to help me figure out what I should drive the car and so on and so forth. But again, guys, it's gonna be a while figuring everything out, getting the car back to what it was doing, and then from there it's just gonna be upwards momentum because it's got so many options in Maxxecu. So really, really excited, guys. It's late. I gotta get inside and get something to eat. I've been out here since 10 o'clock. It's almost 7, so very long process trying to figure everything out, but it will be worth it in the end. Tomorrow we got our big Christmas party, so I will be taking a nice break from the car, but she is running and she's looking good. Appreciate it, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you like what you're watching. I will continue to bring you some Maxxecu footage and see how she comes along. All right, guys, talk to you later. See you.